Close your eyes and breathe gently. Tonight, we journey into forgotten worlds, where ancient temples whispered the names of sacred women, and the moonlight carried their stories across the ages. These were not only myths, but voices of love, wisdom, and quiet strength that guided their people through the mysteries of life and death. Let us drift through soft desert winds, marble sanctuaries, and forest shrines. Each story is a candle glowing in the night, reminding us of the divine feminine that has always lived within the human spirit. Slowly, we will explore these timeless tales, letting them soothe the mind like waves upon a silent shore. If these stories bring you peace, you are welcome to subscribe and return here whenever you need calm. And if you feel called, share in the comments where you are listening from. Your presence joins this circle of quiet souls. The night is quiet now. The air is soft and the world grows still. You rest, with your body sinking deeper into calm as a story unfolds. Far back in time, before the cities, before the towers, before even the first fires were lit by human hands, there was only the earth and her song. She was the first mother, the great mother, the womb of life itself. She was not only soil and stone, she was breath and warmth. She was the pulse beneath the rivers. She was the whisper of the winds that curled around mountains. She was the darkness of caves and the brightness of the morning sun. Every part of her was alive, and every part of her cared for the children who would walk upon her. Listen now, as the story begins. The first mother's song was not sung with words. It was sung with rhythm. It was sung in the heartbeat of the earth, the rise and fall of seasons, the steady flowing of rivers, the call of birds in dawn's first light. When the earliest people opened their eyes to the sky, they felt her music before they knew her name. They lay against the ground and felt her slow, deep heartbeat. They touched the waters and felt her voice rippling against their fingers. The first mother gave everything. From her body came roots, vines, and trees. From her breath came winds that carried seeds far across the plains. From her embrace came warmth, so the young could live and grow. She gave without asking. She nourished without question. And the people, in their simple wonder, loved her with awe. At night, the people gathered near the glow of the moon. They would watch the stars, scattered like seeds of light across the heavens, and they would hear the first mother's lullaby in the sky's endless hush. The stars, they thought, were sparks from her hearth, burning gently to guide them home. Her voice was in the rustle of leaves. Her smile was in the curve of the crescent moon. Her eyes were in the wide, deep waters of the lakes. She was everywhere. And because she was everywhere, her children never felt alone. The first mother's song spoke of cycles. Everything returned to her, and everything rose again from her. When a leaf fell, it returned to her soil. When a creature lay down in its last breath, it returned to her arms. And from those gifts, new life blossomed. It was not an ending. It was a circle, a rhythm, like the inhale and exhale of breath. The people learned from her. They planted seeds, watched them die into the soil, and rise again as food. They saw the moon disappear and then return, always faithful. They saw the winter silence and the spring awakening. And they said, "This is the mother's way. This is her endless song." In dreams she appeared as a gentle figure. Sometimes she was a woman of stone, tall as mountains. Sometimes she was a bird, wings spread wide across the sky. Sometimes she was only a shadow, warm and soft, surrounding all with comfort. But always she carried the same essence. She was protection. She was patience. She was giving. And when her children slept, she sang to them, not with words, but with the steady sound of rain on leaves, with the low rumble of distant thunder, with the hush of waves against the shore. Her lullabies cradled them night after night. The people built their first shrines to her, not of stone, but of silence. A grove of trees became her temple. A cave became her dwelling. A hill crowned with flowers became her altar. They left gifts of food, carved figures, or soft feathers in those places. Not because she demanded them, but because gratitude overflowed, and the first mother, in her endless gentleness, accepted. She gave back tenfold with rain for the fields, fruit for the children, and healing herbs for the sick. Her song was balance. Her song was giving and receiving. Her song was life itself. Over time, her children grew and scattered. Some traveled to deserts, where sand stretched endlessly. There, they still heard her voice in the wind, low and eternal. Some crossed mountains, where snow glittered beneath the sun. There they felt her power in the stillness of ice and stone. Some sailed seas, where endless waters rocked them like a cradle. There, her heartbeat thudded in the rhythm of the waves. No matter where they went, the First Mother was with them. Her song carried across lands and ages, and though her name changed, some called her Earth, some Gaia, some Danu, some Pachamama, she was always the same gentle presence. She was always the womb of all. Her story is not only in myth, it is in the soil beneath your feet. It is in the rhythm of your breath, rising and falling like the tide. It is in the quiet patience of the night around you now. Even as you lie here, the First Mother sings. Her song is steady. Her song is kind. Her song asks nothing from you but to rest. Listen, beneath the silence of the night, can you feel her heartbeat? It is soft yet endless. It is the hum that has carried life since the first dawn. There is peace in her song. It carries no judgment. It carries no fear. It simply holds you like a child resting against the chest of a parent. Every breath you take is part of her music. Every slow beat of your heart is part of her rhythm. You are not separate from her. You are woven into her endless circle, like a leaf, like a wave, like a star, and so you rest. As the story drifts deeper, imagine the First Mother standing before you. Her form is vast, yet soft. Her arms are the horizon itself. Her face is hidden, yet glowing like dawn. She lowers her head, close to you. Her voice hums, low and gentle, like a lullaby only the soul can hear. She sings not of tomorrow, not of past, but of now. She sings of stillness. She sings of rest. She sings of love that has no end. Her children once told stories by the fire. They whispered that when sleep came, it was the First Mother's arms gathering them in. They said dreams were gifts from her, lanterns to guide the soul through night. And when they woke, they felt renewed, as if her breath itself had filled them. So too, in this moment, you are cradled by her song. You drift as the stars hang above you, as the earth turns, as the great rhythm continues. The First Mother's song has no end. It does not rush. It does not fade. It simply continues, steady and gentle, carrying you across time like a boat across calm water. So close your inner eyes. Let her rhythm surround you. You are safe here. You are held here. You are part of her eternal circle. Now the night deepens. The stars glow softly, like sparks from her eternal fire. The air cools, wrapping you in quiet peace. The song continues beneath you, above you, within you. Rest now. Breathe with her. And let the First Mother carry you deeper into dream. Her voice hums in the soil. Her love hums in your heart. Her song is always here. Let us drift onward as the stars return, as the First Mother's song continues forever. The night grows deeper. The stars glow above as if the sky itself is a temple roof painted with light. You drift, calm and still, as the river of story carries you onward. Now we travel to the land of Egypt. The sands are endless, soft as powdered gold. The Nile moves quietly, its waters shining with silver under the moon. Palm trees sway, their shadows stretching across the earth like long dark fingers. And within this ancient land, a love story was born. One that never died, one that still hums through time like a sacred hymn. This is the story of Isis, the keeper of eternal love. Isis was known as a queen among gods, but also as a mother, a healer, a protector. Her spirit was like the Nile itself, flowing, giving, never ceasing. She was wife to Osiris, the gentle king who ruled with wisdom and fairness. Together they were harmony itself, she the guiding heart, he the steady hand. But in the silence of shadows, there was envy. Seth, Osiris's brother, burned with jealousy. He longed for power, for the throne, for the people's praise. And so he set a cruel plan in motion. One evening, when the world was calm, Seth tricked Osiris into lying down in a beautiful chest, carved and jeweled, made to fit him perfectly. The lid was closed, the chest was sealed, and Osiris was cast into the Nile, carried away from the light of day. The waters, once gentle, now bore sorrow. The land grew silent, for the king of life was gone. But love does not sleep. It does not fade. It lingers like fire beneath the ashes, glowing even in the dark. Isis searched endlessly. Across deserts, across marshes, across the winding banks of the Nile, she wandered. Her footsteps were guided by devotion. Her eyes, though weary, were lit with love. The people saw her grief, and they whispered prayers for her strength. For Isis was not only a goddess of the throne, she was the embodiment of loyalty. Her heart did not surrender. At last her search ended. She found the chest that held her beloved, hidden among reeds, touched by the river's quiet hands. With trembling grace she opened it, and though Osiris's body lay lifeless, her love wrapped him like a cloak. She wept, and her tears watered the ground, making new life bloom. Lotus flowers rose where her sorrow fell, the air filled with the fragrance of rebirth. Isis knelt beside Osiris. She spoke to him softly, as if her voice alone could awaken his spirit. Her breath kissed his lips, her hands pressed against his chest, and with the power of her devotion she began to weave magic. The ancient people said her magic was not like spells carved in stone. It was the magic of the heart, a force beyond time, the kind of love that defies endings. She sang over him. Her voice was low, steady, carrying words older than the world itself. Her song became a bridge, reaching into the silence of death, calling Osiris back to her. And for a moment he returned. The god of life breathed again, touched by her devotion. Together they embraced in the hush of night, a union that nothing could sever. From this sacred bond, their son Horus was conceived, a child of light, a promise that the cycle of life would not be broken. Yet Osiris could not stay. His path was no longer among the living. The pull of the underworld called him gently back. But because of Isis, his end was not an end. It was a transformation. He became ruler of the hidden realm, the keeper of souls, the judge of truth. And though he was gone from the earth, his presence remained in every cycle, in every rising flood of the Nile, in every seed that fell to the ground and rose again. Isis had shown the people that love was stronger than the grave. Her devotion was proof that no darkness could silence the bonds of the heart. From then on, the people of Egypt honored Isis not only as a queen, but as the tender guardian of love and life. They painted her with wings outstretched, feathers like the embrace of heaven itself. They whispered her name when they longed for healing. They prayed to her when grief weighed heavy on their souls. In temples lit with oil lamps, her image glowed on the walls. Women carried amulets shaped like her for protection in childbirth. Sailors spoke her name for safety upon the waters, and every heart that ached for a lost one found comfort in her story. For if Isis could find Osiris beyond death's veil, then love was never truly lost. The night deepens. The sands of Egypt lie quiet, starlight scattered across their endless waves. The Nile flows steady, carrying reflections of the moon. And still, the story of Isis hums, gentle as a lullaby. Her love is like the river, always moving. It does not stop at the edge of death. It flows onward, wrapping the world in unseen arms. When the people closed their eyes, they felt her wings around them. When they dreamed, they knew she would guide them through shadows. She was not only goddess, she was comfort, she was memory, she was the proof that love endures. Imagine now, Isis standing at the edge of the Nile. Her figure is calm, her eyes deep as midnight. She spreads her wings, feathers glowing faintly like moonlit silk. She hums, low and endless, the song of devotion. That song drifts through the reeds. It floats across the water. It rises into the stars. It settles into your heart. It whispers, love does not end. It only changes form. It only becomes deeper, wider, stronger. As you lie here, you are touched by that same song. It is not loud. It is not sharp. It is quiet, like breath. It is steady, like heartbeat. It carries you, like the Nile carrying its waters. Your spirit rests in that rhythm now. You are safe. You are held. The story of Isis is not only about gods and kings. It is about the strength of love that lingers in every human soul. It is about the bonds that remain even when time and distance stretch. Her devotion is a lantern. Her song is a lullaby. And her wings are the cradle you rest in tonight. The night will carry you deeper into stillness. The stars will glow softer. The world will fade into quiet. And Isis, keeper of eternal love, will stand watch in the dream world. Her wings will guard you. Her song will soothe you. Her presence will remind you that nothing is ever truly lost. Love is the river that never ends. Love is the flame that never dies. Love is the song that hums even now in the silence of your rest. So let yourself drift. Let the Nile carry you gently. Let the stars shine above you, eternal and calm. Let Isis sing to you as you drift deeper into peace. Now rest, and as the stars return, the song of Isis continues forever. The night is quiet. The stars shimmer like distant lamps. Soft winds move across the earth, and the world seems to breathe in silence. You rest, listening, And in that stillness, an ancient story unfolds. It is the story of Inanna, the radiant queen of heaven, whose journey carried her into the deep shadows below, a journey of surrender, a journey of death and return, a journey that whispers of rebirth. Inanna was a goddess of great beauty and power. She ruled over love, fertility, and the shining sky. Her temples were filled with offerings, her name sung by priestesses in the glow of oil lamps. But within her heart was a stirring. She longed to know the mysteries hidden in the underworld, where her sister Ereshkigal reigned in silence. She longed to walk where no light shone, to see with her own eyes the secrets of death and transformation. And so Inanna prepared for her descent. The path to the underworld was dark, winding, and endless. Before she left, Inanna adorned herself with 7 sacred items. Upon her head she placed her shining crown. Upon her neck, a necklace of power. Upon her chest, a breastplate of protection. Rings of gold upon her hands, a measuring rod and line in her grasp, and fine robes flowing like starlight around her body. Each item carried meaning. Each item was a symbol of her place in the world above. And with these, she began her journey downward. At the first gate of the underworld, the guardian stopped her. The air was heavy, the silence deep. To pass through, she was told, she must surrender her crown. Inanna bowed her head. The crown was taken from her, and she stepped forward, bareheaded, her radiance dimmed. At the second gate, another guardian stood. To pass, she must give up her necklace, and so she let it fall. At the third, her breastplate was taken. At the fourth, her ring slipped away. At the fifth, her rod and line. At the sixth, her flowing robes. At the seventh and final gate, she stood with nothing left, naked, bare, stripped of all symbols of power. The underworld was silent. There was no light, no song, only stillness. Only the cold presence of her sister, Ereshkigal, queen of the dead. Inanna bowed before her. But the laws of the underworld were harsh. None could enter without paying the price. And so Inanna was judged. She was struck down. Her body hung lifeless, suspended on a hook, deep in the shadowed halls. The Queen of Heaven had fallen. Above, the world felt her absence. The fields grew dry. The wombs of women grew empty. The joy of love and life faded. Her people mourned. Her priestesses sang laments in the temples. The earth itself seemed to wait, silent and grieving. But the story did not end in sorrow, for the goddess of love could not be lost forever. Her song was too deep, her spirit too vast. After 3 days and 3 nights, help came. Through the weaving of magic, through the compassion of allies, through the persistence of devotion, Inanna was restored. The waters of life touched her. Her eyes opened once more. She rose from the stillness of death. Her body breathed again. Her spirit shone, though softer now, humbled by the shadow she had seen. Step by step she returned through the gates, and with each passage upward, something changed. At the 7th gate, robes returned to her shoulders. At the 6th, the rod and line. At the 5th, her rings. At the 4th, her breastplate. At the 3rd, her necklace. At the 2nd, her crown. But though her ornaments were restored, she was not the same. For she had faced the silence. She had been emptied of all pride, all power, all protection. She had known surrender, and she had known renewal. The Inanna who returned was not the Inanna who had descended. She was deeper now, her song fuller, her love wiser. The people felt her return. Fields grew green once more. The rivers flowed with life. Songs rose again in the temples, and they told her story, not as a tale of defeat, but as a tale of transformation, a reminder that descent leads to renewal, that endings are also beginnings, that through surrender, life is reborn. Her descent became a mirror of the cycles, like the seed that must sink into the soil before it can rise as a plant, like the sun that falls each evening, only to return with the dawn, like the breath that leaves the body, only to be drawn in again. Her story was not just about gods, it was about the rhythm of life itself, loss and return, death and rebirth, silence and song. Imagine now Inanna standing beneath the stars once more, her robes flowing, her crown shining, yet in her eyes a shadow of quiet wisdom. She knows what lies below. She has seen the stillness that waits in every life, but she does not fear it. She has walked through it, and she has returned. She carries that truth within her, and she gives it to you now. A truth as gentle as the night, that endings are not endings, that what falls will rise, that what sleeps will awaken. As you rest, the story wraps around you. You feel the descent, the surrender, the silence, and then softly you feel the return, like a tide rising back to shore, like a new breath filling the chest. Like dawn after a long night, you are held in that rhythm. You are safe within that cycle. There is no need to resist. The world carries you, as it carried Inanna. The night deepens. The stars shimmer softly. The earth is still, yet alive beneath you. You are part of this endless story. You are the seed, the river, the breath. You are the descent and the return. Rest now. The goddess has walked the path before you. She sings of renewal. She sings of peace. She sings of love that endures even in silence. Let her voice guide you deeper. Let the story cradle you. Let the stillness of the underworld fade into the comfort of the night. Now drift onward, as the stars return and Inanna's song of rebirth hums quietly around you. The night is calm. Above, the stars shimmer like silver seeds in a vast field of sky. The air is cool, scented faintly with pine and stone. You rest as the world around you slows. And into this stillness, a story begins. It is a story of an ancient place, a place where voices rose not from the earth, nor from the sea, but from the breath of the gods themselves. This place was Delphi, in the heart of Greece, and within its sacred temple lived the oracle, the Pythia, who spoke the words of Apollo. High upon the slopes of Mount Parnassus, Delphi shone like a jewel. The mountain was steep, wrapped in forests, its stones touched by sunlight in the day, and by moonlight at night. At its base, springs bubbled with clear waters, believed to carry the essence of purity. Pilgrims traveled great distances to drink from these springs, to wash their hands, to prepare their hearts before entering the sacred grounds. The temple of Apollo stood above, its marble glowing pale in the dawn and golden in the evening. Columns rose like still guardians, holding the weight of silence and sky. Within its inner chamber, behind veils and shadows, sat the Pythia, a woman chosen not for wealth or birth, but for her openness to the voice of the divine. She sat upon a tripod, above a chasm in the earth. From the deep fissure rose vapors, soft and unseen, carrying with them a mystery. The air around her was thick, filled with the scent of laurel leaves and burning offerings. Priests stood nearby, but they did not speak. They waited. They listened. For when the Pythia breathed those sacred vapors, her body stilled. Her eyes half closed, her lips began to move, and through her voice, Apollo's message was carried to the waiting world. People came from every land, kings and warriors, farmers and poets, mothers carrying prayers for their children, merchants seeking signs for their journeys. They came with gifts of honey, of wine, of simple flowers, of golden bowls. Each bowed in silence before the temple. Each was led to the place where the oracle would speak. The Pythia did not answer in plain words. Her voice rose like a song, layered and flowing. Her words came as riddles, as symbols, as visions. The priests wrote them down, shaping them into messages, yet leaving space for wonder. Some heard warnings, others heard blessings. Some left with hearts lifted, others with silence heavy upon them. Yet all believed they had touched something greater than themselves. For in that chamber, the veil between worlds grew thin. The mortal ear could hear for a moment the whisper of eternity. The oracle was not only a voice for kings, she was also a mirror for the people. Her words reminded them that wisdom comes not from power alone, but from listening. That truth is not always sharp and clear, but soft, like water flowing through stone. That the divine speaks in symbols, as dreams do, in ways that stir the soul more than the mind. Imagine for a moment walking up the sacred path yourself. The stones are smooth from countless feet. Olive trees line the way, their branches whispering in the breeze. Incense drifts from nearby altars, curling like smoke into the air. You hear the faint sound of distant flutes, their notes rising gently, calming the heart. At last, you stand before the temple. Its doors are tall, its shadows deep. You enter slowly, your footsteps soft upon the marble. And in the inner chamber you see her, the Pythia, seated, still, her breath moving with the rhythm of the earth. Her presence is calm, yet vast. Her body is small, yet her voice seems to carry the weight of the heavens. The breath of the earth rises through the chasm. The sacred leaves burn, releasing their fragrance. The chamber hums with silence. And then, softly, the oracle speaks. Her words are not commands. They are not heavy with force. They are threads of mystery woven into sound. They fall upon the air like gentle drops of water, each carrying reflection. You do not need to understand them fully. You need only to feel them, as one feels the warmth of the sun or the coolness of a river. The message is not in the mind alone, but in the spirit. For centuries, the Oracle of Delphi stood as a beacon. She was not a ruler, not a soldier, not a priest of power. She was a vessel. Through her, the unseen touched the seen. Through her, the voice of Apollo reminded mortals of their place in the great web of life. And she was a woman, chosen again and again across generations to sit in that sacred seat, a reminder that wisdom is not bound by gender, by birth, or by strength. Wisdom flows where there is openness. It chooses the heart that is still, the spirit that listens. The myths tell us that even great rulers bent their ears to her words. They did not always understand, yet they carried her riddles as treasures. For in those layered messages lay guidance, a spark of divine light hidden within. Her presence was like the moon's reflection on water, clear yet shimmering, visible yet shifting, always pointing to something beyond itself. The people of Delphi believed the center of the world lay beneath her seat. A stone called the omphalos, the navel of the earth, rested there. It was said to mark the place where two eagles, sent by Zeus from opposite ends of the sky, had met, a meeting point of heaven and earth, a place where messages could flow, where the divine and the mortal touched. And so, when the Pythia spoke, it was as though the very heart of the earth was breathing through her. Her words were the earth's own size, shaped by the song of Apollo. Time moved gently around Delphi. Seasons shifted. Pilgrims came and went. The sun rose over the marble columns, and the moonlight wrapped the temple in silver. The oracle sat again and again, offering her voice to the unseen. Her story became more than a story. It became a symbol, a reminder that wisdom waits in stillness, that the divine speaks not in noise but in whispers, that the breath of the earth carries secrets, if only one listens. As you lie now in quiet rest, imagine that breath around you, the soft rising of earth's life, moving like a gentle wind, the faint fragrance of laurel, calming and green, the silence of stone, cool and eternal. Imagine hearing the oracle's voice. It does not command. It does not hurry. It simply drifts, like mist upon water, carrying symbols, carrying calm. You do not need to solve her words. You only need to rest within them, for they are like dreams, not puzzles, but songs of the soul. The night deepens. The stars are steady above. The mountain of Delphi sleeps in shadows. The temple of Apollo glows in memory, and the oracle's presence lingers, soft as a lullaby. Her voice is the voice of listening itself. Her words are the rhythm of rest. Her silence is a cradle for your spirit. Now let yourself drift as pilgrims once drifted down the sacred path. Let your breath be steady as the earth's breath through the fissure. Let your heart be calm as the oracle's gaze in her sacred seat. And so we close this chapter gently. The oracle remains timeless, seated in her chamber, surrounded by shadows and light. Her voice continues, not as words, but as a song carried within the quiet of your own heart. Rest now, as her wisdom lingers. Rest as the stars return. Rest as the night carries you deeper into dream. Let us drift onward, into silence, into peace, into sleep. The night settles softly. The horizon glows faintly with the last trace of sunset, fading into velvet blue. The first stars tremble awake, scattered like sparks across the heavens. The air is warm, carrying the faint scent of desert flowers, sweet and hidden. All is still and all is calm. In this quiet, the story of Hathor begins. She is the goddess of joy, of music, of love. She is the golden one, radiant as the morning sun, gentle as moonlight. To the people of ancient Egypt, she was a mother, a friend and a guide. She was laughter echoing through temples, songs rising over the waters, and stars shimmering across the sky. Long ago, when the Nile carried life through the land, people raised their eyes to Hathor. They saw her face in the wide sky. They felt her presence in the rhythm of drums, in the ringing of sistrums, in the sway of dancers beneath torchlight. Her temples were filled not with silence, but with music and joy. It was said that she wore a crown of horns, embracing the solar disk between them. From her came the warmth of the sun, nourishing crops, awakening flowers. From her came the coolness of the night, where stars stretched endlessly, her laughter woven into their shining threads. Hathor was called Lady of the Sycamore. Beneath the shade of trees, travelers found rest. Thirsty souls drank from streams flowing beneath her branches. Her presence was like that. Shelter, shade, sweetness. Mothers whispered her name over children. Lovers called to her beneath the moon. Musicians lifted their voices in her honor, their hands striking strings, their fingers ringing bells. And when people danced, their joy was her joy. Each step, each rhythm, was part of her eternal song. But Hathor was more than joy alone. She was also a guide in moments of passing. When souls drifted from the world, she welcomed them with gentle hands. Her eyes, warm as starlight, calmed fear. Her smile, radiant as dawn, promised peace. To step into her embrace was to step into beauty without end. Thus she was both laughter in life and comfort in death. Her love carried across all realms, unbroken, eternal. Imagine the desert under night, the sands cool, glowing pale beneath the stars. The silence is wide, yet not empty. Far above, the Milky Way stretches, like a silver river flowing through the dark. The people of Egypt looked upward and said, "This is Hathor's sky. She is the lady of the stars. Her laughter is their sparkle. Her dance is their rhythm." And so every night became a festival of light, a celebration of her presence. Her temples rose along the Nile. One stood at Dendera, where her image was carved in stone. There walls bloomed with stars, with musicians, with dancers. The ceiling held the zodiac, the heavens painted upon it, eternal and alive. People entered, carrying offerings, not in silence, but with music in their hearts. The priests played rattles and harps. The air filled with fragrance, soft smoke curling toward the ceiling. Torches flickered, their glow dancing across her image. And the people prayed not with sorrow, but with joy, for she was joy itself. Hathor was often shown with a mirror. It shone like a polished moon, reflecting faces with gentle clarity. The mirror was her gift. It taught that beauty is not far away, not unreachable, but present in every soul. Each person who looked upon it could remember, "You are a child of light. You are worthy of love. You are a reflection of the divine." Her music, her dance, her laughter all whispered the same truth, that joy is not something to chase, but something already carried within. Imagine now, drifting into her presence. Her voice is like golden bells, soft and bright. Her laughter is like water spilling over smooth stone. Her dance is the rhythm of your own heart, steady, calm. She does not hurry you. She does not ask. She only offers a place to rest, a place to remember that life is more than labor. Life is also sweetness. When the Nile flooded each year, people celebrated her. They sang and danced by the riverbanks, knowing the waters carried her blessings. They painted her face upon amulets, upon pottery, upon walls, so she would never be far. She was joy made eternal, woven into their days. Even in sorrow, her presence was felt. For when grief pressed heavy, her music reminded them that light still shone, that love still breathed. She was never far from the heart in need. As the stars deepened in the night sky, people would tell stories. They said Hathor's laughter kept the heavens alive. They said her golden light was woven into the very fabric of time. When lovers clasped hands, she was there. When mothers rocked children to sleep, she was there. When travelers wandered far, she guided their steps, her stars above showing the way. She was everywhere, like the sky itself, boundless, ever-present, ever-giving. The Greeks, who later came to Egypt, saw her and called her Aphrodite. Others saw her and called her Venus, but to the Egyptian she was Hathor, always Hathor, mother of joy, queen of stars. Her spirit could never be confined to a single name, for joy is larger than language. It is felt, not captured. As you rest now, imagine her above you. Her crown glows with sunlight, yet it does not burn. It warms gently like morning after long night. Her eyes hold the reflection of stars, countless and kind. Her hands extend not to demand, but to cradle. Her song drifts softly through the air. It is not loud, not sharp. It is a lullaby, flowing as steady as the Nile. It carries you into stillness, into peace. The night deepens. The desert sleeps. Temples rest in silence, but the stars above continue to shine, each one a note in Hathor's eternal song. Her laughter hums through them. Her joy glimmers from their light. Her presence, vast and tender, fills the sky. Now let yourself drift with her stars. Let your breath move with her rhythm. Let your heart rest in her golden song. Hathor, Lady of Joyful Stars, remains. She remains in music, in love, in every gentle smile. She remains in the heavens, in the quiet of the night. Her presence does not fade. It only deepens as dream unfolds. So rest now, with her light around you. Rest with her laughter woven into your breath. Rest as her stars guide you deeper into sleep. Let us drift onward, into her song, into her joy, into her peace. Mist lies over the water. It drifts like a veil, silver and soft across the quiet lake. The moon rests above, pale and gentle, watching the ripples that move like breathing. The world seems hushed here, as though the very air waits in silence. You drift with it into the dream of Avalon. Far across the stillness, a shadowed isle rises. Its outline glimmers through the fog, touched with starlight. Orchards spread upon its slopes, their branches heavy with fruit. Springs flow clear and bright, singing their timeless songs. This is Avalon, the blessed land, half hidden from the eyes of the waking world. It belongs to both earth and spirit, to memory and to dream. Upon its shores, the priestesses walk. Their feet are bare against the dew-kissed grass. They move in quiet circles, their robes flowing like streams of white and green. Each step is soft, like the turning of a page in a sacred book. Their hair catches the moonlight, shimmering like silver threads. They are the keepers of Avalon, guardians of its mysteries, and the gentle hands that guide the unseen. By the sacred spring they gather. The water shines in the night, reflecting stars as though the heavens rest within it. One priestess bends low, touching the water with her palm. Ripples spread outward, carrying whispers across the surface. Another raises her hands, and her voice rises like a song carried by the wind. It is not loud nor meant for many ears. It is soft, like a lullaby meant for the soul. The spring listens, the earth listens, the sky listens, and all grows still. In Avalon, time moves differently. The orchards bloom as though in eternal spring. Apples shine golden in the twilight, glowing as though they hold sunlight within. When the priestesses walk among them, the fruit stirs faintly, as though greeting old friends. For the orchard remembers. Each tree holds memory, each branch a story, each apple a star in the firmament of the heart. The priestesses know these stories. They pluck the fruit with reverence, placing it in woven baskets. They carry them to the stone circles, where the earth is open and sacred. Here they share the apples beneath the stars, not as food alone, but as blessings, as threads that tie the human world to the eternal. The mist thickens. It swirls like soft veils around the stone circle. The priestesses close their eyes. Their voices rise together, a harmony of whispers and tones. Some words are ancient, lost to the waking tongue. Others are only sounds, like the rustle of leaves or the sigh of wind. Yet together, they weave a fabric of sound that holds the night in calm. They are dream weavers. Between the waking world and the world beyond, they walk as bridges. They tend to dreams like gardeners to flowers. They shape them gently, so that each soul might drift toward peace, toward healing, toward light. They do not command nor control. They simply guide, like the moon guiding tides. In the orchards, soft bells ring. They are not made of metal, but of wind and leaf and branch. The sound is faint, like laughter carried far across the water. It is the music of Avalon. It carries joy, yet it is calm. It brings remembrance, yet it does not bind. It opens the heart to rest. Through the mist, the priestesses tend the sacred fire. It burns low, its flames golden and steady. Around it, they sit in a circle. Their hands rest upon their knees. Their eyes are closed, their breathing slow and even. The fire does not roar. It glows, a living heartbeat of warmth and light. The flames dance gently, casting long shadows that sway like branches in the wind. The fire is more than flame. It is a reminder of the eternal spark. The priestesses gaze inward into that spark within themselves and within all beings. They know it is the same fire, the same light that burns in the stars, that shines in the apple's skin, that glows in the heart of every living soul. It is one fire, many flames, and so they sit in stillness, feeling its presence in the quiet night. Sometimes a traveler drifts upon the lake. From the world beyond, a small boat crosses the mist. The priestesses see it, though it may not see them. If the traveler is gentle, they will guide the boat toward Avalon. The priestesses do not speak with loud voices. They do not command the oars. Instead, they whisper to the waters, to the wind, to the stars. And slowly, softly, the boat finds its way to the hidden shore. The traveler steps upon the grass. They are weary, their soul heavy. The priestesses greet them not with words, but with silence, with presence, with peace. They offer the fruit of the orchard, the water of the spring, the warmth of the fire. And in that stillness, the traveler begins to heal. The weight eases, the spirit lifts, and they come to know what Avalon is. Not a place, but a blessing, a dream, a gentle breath of the divine. In time, the traveler leaves. They return to their world, to their waking life. But something of Avalon goes with them. The sound of bells in the wind, the taste of an apple glowing like the sun, the memory of priestesses moving through mist, their voices soft as moonlight. These linger deep within like embers that never fade. And Avalon remains, always beyond the mist, always waiting in the twilight. The priestesses continue their tending. Their circle remains unbroken. The springs flow, the orchards bloom, the fire glows. And the dream weavers move gently between worlds, guiding those who drift toward rest. The lake lies still again. The mist thickens, wrapping the isle in silver silence. The moon lowers, the stars grow pale, dawn stirs faintly at the edge of the horizon. But Avalon does not fade. It remains a quiet sanctuary beyond time, where peace is eternal and the priestesses watch with gentle eyes. And now, as you drift with the story, you may feel the mist softening around you. You may feel the fire glowing, not far but within. You may hear the faint bells ringing in the orchard, guiding your breath into calm. You may sense the priestesses near, weaving dreams of comfort and rest. Let yourself float upon the waters. Let the mist carry you. Let the orchard of Avalon hold you in its fragrance and light. And as the stars return to the sky of memory, let your soul rest, softly, deeply, peacefully. For the priestesses of Avalon are near, and all is calm. The night is still. The stars shimmer like quiet lanterns across a velvet sky. A hush lies over the fields, as though the earth holds its breath. The grasses rest, the rivers move slowly, and the soil waits in silence. This is the land of Demeter, goddess of grain, of harvest, of life that rises from the ground. But tonight, the land does not sing. It grieves with its goddess. In the deep of time, when the first fields were young, Demeter's laughter filled the air, like warm wind through wheat. She walked among the meadows, her touch bringing blossoms, her voice filling the orchards with fruit. Every stalk bent toward her in devotion, every seed woke at her presence. But all of that brightness dimmed when her daughter Persephone was taken to the underworld. The story begins in sunlight. Persephone wandered through a meadow wide and golden, her hands filled with flowers, her hair shining like morning. She bent to gather blossoms, unaware of the shadow that grew beneath her feet. The ground opened, dark and sudden, and Hades rose in his chariot of black horses. The earth closed behind him, leaving only silence, only scattered petals. Persephone was gone, Demeter called out, her voice echoing through valleys and mountains. She searched the fields, the forests, the rivers, but no answer came. Her grief was heavy, like clouds covering the sun. As her sorrow deepened, the earth withered. Grain refused to grow. Trees dropped their leaves. The world entered a silence of hunger and cold. It was the first winter. The people cried to Demeter. They laid offerings at her altars. They whispered prayers in her temples. But she did not hear them. Her heart was closed, lost in grief. She wandered the earth like a shadow, searching, always searching for her beloved child. The gods grew restless, for the world could not survive without growth. Zeus, father of gods and men, sent Hermes to the underworld. The messenger descended through the dark gates, through caverns where shadows lingered, until he came before Hades and Persephone. Hermes spoke with the voice of balance. The earth was dying. Demeter's grief was too deep. Persephone must return, at least for a time. Hades, bound by fate, allowed her to go. But before she left, Persephone tasted 6 ruby seeds of the pomegranate. Sweet, red, and shining, they bound her to the underworld. For 6 months of the year, she would return there, beside Hades. For the other 6, she would rise again, back to the light, back to her mother. When Demeter first saw her daughter return, joy burst like dawn across her face. She embraced her child, and the earth answered. Grass grew green again. Flowers sprang from the soil. The fields filled with grain bending golden under the sun. The first harvest after winter was born, but when Persephone departed once more, Demeter wept again. The leaves fell, the fields grew bare, and frost touched the ground. Her sorrow brought autumn, then winter. Her joy brought spring, then summer. So the world turned, in rhythm with a mother's grief and a daughter's return. The seasons became a song, loss and return, darkness and light. winter's silence and spring's laughter, a rhythm as old as memory, as steady as the heart. The people came to understand. They saw in the fields the story of their own lives, times of plenty and times of emptiness, times of grief and times of joy. Demeter's sorrow was their sorrow. Her renewal was their renewal. She taught them that all things move in cycles and that no loss is forever. At her temples, women gathered in sacred rites. They carried torches into the night, remembering Demeter's search. They shared bread and fruit, remembering the gifts of harvest. They whispered songs of Persephone's return, gentle as lullabies to the earth itself. These mysteries were never spoken aloud, but lived in the hearts of those who sought comfort. The mysteries of Demeter promise that after every descent, there is an ascent. After every winter, spring. Listen now to the rhythm of the earth. When snow lies heavy and fields are bare, it is not the end. It is the resting breath, the pause before renewal. When blossoms return and birds sing again, it is the reminder that nothing is lost forever. Demeter's grief teaches the depth of love. Persephone's return teaches the promise of light. Together they form the gentle truth of seasons, the balance of sorrow and joy. Imagine now the fields of Greece in spring. The wheat rises, golden and soft. The poppies bloom, red as the pomegranate. The air is warm, the rivers sing, the orchards glow with fruit. Demeter walks among them once more, her face serene, her eyes alight with joy. Beside her, Persephone smiles, carrying flowers in her hands. Together they walk, mother and daughter, across the living earth. Their steps awaken blossoms. Their laughter carries like birdsong across the land, and so the world remembers. Every leaf that falls, every seed that sleeps, every frost that silences the field is not an end, but a pause. Every bud that opens, every river that flows free, every fruit that ripens in the sun is a return. It is the eternal story of loss and renewal, of descent and rising, of night and morning. Now as you drift in this story, feel the gentle breath of the seasons moving within you, the quiet of winter, the blooming of spring, the warmth of summer, the stillness of autumn. Each has its place. Each is part of the circle. Each teaches the heart to rest in trust, to know that light returns. Let yourself rest in Demeter's arms, where sorrow softens into peace. Let yourself walk with Persephone, rising from the shadows into the morning light. Feel the rhythm of the seasons as a soft lullaby, carrying you toward sleep. The stars above turn in their own cycles. The moon waxes and wanes. The earth itself breathes in night and day, in winter and spring. You are part of this rhythm, safe within its flow. Now rest as the story closes like petals at dusk. Rest as the mother and daughter walk together once more. Rest as the fields glow golden in the quiet sun. Let us drift onward, gentle and slow, carried by the turning of the seasons. For just as Persephone always returns, so too does peace, so too does light. And now, as the stars return, let your soul rest. The night opens like a gentle veil. A silver glow drifts across the quiet sky, soft as milk poured into darkness. The moon rises slowly, as though it is breathing with the world. Her light spreads like silk over the hills, over rivers, over the calm of the sea. She is ancient, eternal, and kind, the mother of tides, the sister of stars, the keeper of dreams. Since the first nights of humankind, people lifted their eyes to her face. They saw in her glow the promise of guidance. They felt in her phases the rhythm of time itself. Waxing and waning, fullness and emptiness, she became a teacher of cycles. She became more than light. She became memory. She became story. Across many lands, she was called by many names. To the Greeks, she was Selene, with her pale horses pulling her chariot across the heavens. To the Romans, she was Luna, crowned with a crescent, watching over the sleeping earth. To the peoples of Mesoamerica, she was Coyolxauhqui, radiant and fierce, her body shining in fragments of starlight. To the Inuit, she was the sister of the sun, drifting across the northern sky. Everywhere, the moon was more than stone and shadow. She was alive, a presence of comfort. Imagine her as mother, her round body full of tenderness, watching the fields at night. She pulls the tides like a lullaby for the oceans. The fishermen trust her light. The farmers look to her phases for planting and harvest. The children fall asleep beneath her, safe in her glow. She is the mother who never leaves the night. Imagine her as sister, always near, yet never the same. Some nights she is bright and full, glowing with laughter. Some nights she hides, thin as a whisper. but even in her silence, she is there. The sister of shadows, the sister of stars, she teaches that even absence is part of love, that return is always waiting. Imagine her as protector. Her silver light pours softly into temples, onto rivers, into dreams. Travelers in ancient lands followed her glow when roads were dark. Priestesses lifted bowls of water to reflect her face, seeing visions in her shine. The moon guarded the night, a lantern against fear, a mirror of hope. The moon was not only one, but many. Her daughters lived in stories, carrying her essence in countless forms. They were spirits of the night sky, guardians of time, guides of the soul. They were the daughters of the moon. In the soft lands of Greece there was Artemis, huntress, virgin, guardian of wild places. Though not the moon itself, she was its shining daughter. With her bow of silver she walked through forests lit by lunar glow. She protected women in childbirth. She guarded the young and the innocent. Her presence was like moonlight filtering through leaves, gentle, hidden, yet powerful. Far to the east, in China, lived the tale of Chang'e. She was lifted to the moon, her body glowing in that quiet sphere. Alone, yet not lonely, she became the queen of the lunar palace. There she dwells with the jade rabbit, whose gentle pounding of herbs echoes like a heartbeat in the silence of the sky. Children still look up to the moon during the mid-autumn festival, whispering her name, imagining her grace. Among the Maya, the moon was Ixchel, the radiant weaver. She wove patterns of rain and fertility. She was the goddess of medicine, of healing, of birth. Her hands stretched across the loom of the sky, threads shining like rivers of silver. She carried jars of water, pouring rain when the earth was thirsty. To the Maya, the moon was not distant. She was close, caring, full of life. In Africa, among the Zulu, the moon was called Inyanga. She marked time, counted months, carried healing power. She was seen as a great healer, one who softened wounds, who brought balance. Her daughters were the healers on earth, women who carried herbs and wisdom, who understood that cycles of the body followed cycles of the moon. And in the north, where snow stretched endless and white, the Inuit told of the moon as brother. He chased his sister, the sun, across the sky, never catching, never stopping. The rhythm of their dance brought light and shadow, night and day. In this story, the moon was not lonely, but in eternal motion, a reminder that even distance is a form of closeness. Through every story, the daughters of the moon carried one truth. They reminded humankind of cycles. That darkness is not forever, that endings are part of beginnings, that every loss contains the seed of return. Look up at her face now, glowing above. The same moon that touched the eyes of the first people, the same moon that guided the first travelers, the same moon that listened to the first prayers whispered in the night. She is ancient, yet always new. She is one, yet also many. Her daughters walk beside you even as you drift into rest. Artemis, guarding your dreams with her silver bow. Chang'e, lighting your quiet with her grace. Ixchel, weaving threads of healing through your sleep. Selene, Luna, Koyolxauhqui, all of them faces of the same gentle truth, that you are watched, that you are safe, that you are part of the cycle of light. Feel the tide of her presence moving within you, like waves rising and falling, like breath itself. Inhale as the moon waxes, exhale as the moon wanes. You are a tide of her making, carried by her rhythm, soft and eternal. The stars gather around her now, her companions, her sisters. They glimmer like pearls on a crown, each one a memory, each one a dream. The sky is quiet, the night deep, the earth resting in her care. The moon looks down on the fields, on the waters, on the sleepers, and blesses them with her light. Let her silver glow bathe you in calm. Let the rhythm of her cycles rock you gently, like a cradle of light. For you too are part of her daughters, part of her story. You carry within you the rising, the falling, the return, and now the night deepens. The winds soften, the moon shines steady. She will remain all through your rest, a mother, a sister, a protector, the keeper of dreams. Let us drift onward now, gentle and slow, as her silver light watches from above. Now rest as the stars return, and the moon cradles your sleep. Night folds softly over the ancient city. The streets grow quiet. The marble temples, tall and white beneath the sky, rest like sleeping giants. And at the heart of Rome, in a sacred circle of stone, a fire glows. It burns with a steady breath, neither fierce nor faint. It is the flame of Vesta, goddess of the hearth, the guardian of home and life. The fire is eternal. It must never fall into silence. for it carries the spirit of the city itself. The people believe that while it burns, Rome is safe, and around this flame walk the Vestal Virgins, the keepers of light. They move like shadows in linen robes, their steps soft upon the marble floor. They do not hurry. They do not falter. Every movement is careful, gentle, and calm. Their task is both simple and endless: to guard the fire, to feed it, to let it live. The temple is round, like the circle of the world. At its center the flame rests, a golden heart of warmth. The air smells faintly of smoke and oil, yet the scent is clean, sacred and pure. Candles and small lamps flicker nearby, but all bend their glow toward the greater flame. The Vestals are chosen as children. Taken from their families, they step into silence and devotion. For 30 years they serve. They learn to tend the fire, to keep its balance, to live apart from all distractions. They belong not to themselves, but to Vesta, to the hearth of Rome, to the flame of life. Imagine them at dawn. The city begins to stir outside the temple walls. Carts roll across the stone streets, merchants lift their voices, the river Tiber shimmers with morning light. But within the round temple it is quiet. Only the fire speaks, its crackle soft as a lullaby. A Vestal kneels beside it, adding branches, whispering prayers. Her voice is low, almost lost in the air, yet the flame responds, rising brighter, steadier. To the Romans, this was more than ritual. The fire was the breath of the city. It was the soul of the people, the warmth of every hearth carried into one eternal flame. Without it, the city would fall into darkness. With it, the city lived in balance. The Vestals themselves became symbols. They carried purity, not only of the body but of spirit. They stood between the ordinary and the sacred. They belonged neither to men nor to households. They belonged to time itself, to the circle of devotion. Their lives were bound in silence and honor, yet they held a power few women in Rome ever touched. They could speak in court. They could walk freely through the city. They carried authority, their presence guarded by the sanctity of the flame. And yet, beneath all these gifts, their truest strength was stillness. They kept the fire alive, not with force but with care. Picture the fire at night. The city sleeps, its rooftops silver under the moon. The temple glows like a lantern in the dark. Inside, a Vestal tends the flame. Her eyes are calm, her breath unhurried. She places wood upon the embers, watches the sparks rise and fade like stars falling into dreams. Her hands are steady, her heart is quiet as still water. In her devotion, the fire never dies. There is a lesson hidden in this endless tending. The flame of life does not burn on its own. It asks for balance. Too little care, and it falls into silence. Too much, and it flares, consuming what it touches. The Vestals knew this truth. Life itself is a fire to be guarded, not by force, but by gentle, constant attention. In their long service, they became mirrors of the flame, pure, patient, silent, eternal, their robes white as ash, their hearts steady as embers, their duty simple, yet infinite. And when their 30 years were done, they were released from service. They could choose a new life, carry the wisdom of the fire into the world. But most carried the stillness within them forever, as though the eternal flame continued to burn in their souls. The flame of Vesta is gone now. The temple has fallen to ruin, the city has changed, but the memory of the Vestals lingers. The image of women guarding light day and night, year after year, still glows in human memory. They remind us that devotion does not need to be loud, it does not need to be seen, it only needs to be steady. As you drift now, imagine the fire before you, a circle of stone, a gentle glow rising into the quiet night. The crackle is soft, soothing, like breath against silence. You sit near it, warmed, comforted, safe. The Vestals move nearby, tending the fire, their faces calm, their hands gentle. You are not alone. You are within the circle of life, within the warmth of balance. The flame becomes your own breath, each inhale feeding it, each exhale calming it. Your body is the hearth, your spirit is the ember. The eternal flame burns within you, steady and kind. Let its glow carry you deeper into rest. Let its warmth hold you as the night deepens. Like the Vestals, you need not hurry, you need not struggle. You only need to tend to the flame of your own being, softly, gently, with care. And as the temple fades into dream, the fire remains. It will glow through the night. It will glow through your sleep, a sacred circle, a silent guardian, a flame of life. Now let us drift onward, slow as falling ash, gentle as a spark fading into the dark. Rest now as the stars return and the vestal flame glows quietly within your soul. Night drapes the sky in deep indigo. The stars shimmer like silver dust scattered across an endless cloth. The moon drifts slowly, calm and pale, as though it too is a thread woven into the fabric of time. You stand in the quiet of this night, listening to the silence that hums between the worlds. It is here, in this stillness, that the story of the weavers of fate unfolds. In many ancient lands, people whispered of unseen women who held the power of destiny. They did not walk as queens or warriors. They did not carry weapons or crowns. Their power was older, softer, and deeper. They sat by looms or beside the roots of sacred trees, spinning and weaving. Each thread they touched became a life. Each pattern they shaped became the story of the world. In the north, among the Norse, they were called the Norns, 3 sisters who lived by the roots of Yggdrasil, the great world tree. Its branches touched the heavens, its roots reached the depths. The Norns sat beside the well of fate, where waters whispered the secrets of all that was and all that would be. Their names were Urd, Verdandi, and Skuld, what has been, what is becoming, and what shall be. Picture them there in the half-light of dawn. The great tree rises above them, its leaves trembling with stars. The well ripples softly, reflecting both moon and sun. Urd, the eldest, takes her thread from what has already been spun. She weaves the memory of past days, soft as faded light. Verdandi, the present, works with bright hands, shaping the now strand by strand. And Skuld, the youngest, holds the threads of tomorrow, not yet formed, not yet certain, yet waiting like seeds in the earth. Their loom hums with a sound older than speech. It is the murmur of rivers, the sigh of winds, the heartbeat of all creatures. The threads glisten, some golden, some pale, some dark as shadow. Each thread is a life. Some stretch long, winding across the tapestry of the world. Others are short, their glow brief but still sacred. Together they form a design no single eye can see in full. Only the weavers understand the whole. Far away in the lands of Greece, another trio held this sacred task. They were the Moirai, the Fates, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. Clotho spun the thread of life, drawing it gently from the distaff, fine and new. Lachesis measured it, her hands deciding its length. And Atropos, calm and silent, would one day cut it with her shears, ending the journey when the time was ripe. Imagine them in their quiet chamber, lit only by oil lamps. Their faces are serene, their eyes reflecting the glow of the threads they tend. Each life is cradled in their hands, not with cruelty, but with balance. For to them, life is not endless. It is precious because it is finite. Each thread has its time to shine, its place to belong. When the cut comes, it is not punishment. It is simply the closing of a circle, the return of the strand to the great weave. The people feared and honored these weavers. For no king, no warrior, no poet could escape their design. Even the gods, it was said, bowed before the loom. Fate was not to be undone. It was the river that carried all souls forward, whether swiftly or slow, whether bright or shadowed. And yet within this river there was beauty, for every thread, no matter how small, added color and pattern to the great cloth of existence. The Celts, too, spoke of women who shaped destiny. Sometimes they appeared as 3 sisters, sometimes as a host of shining ones, guiding the rhythm of birth and death, planting seeds of what would come. In many lands, across many tongues, the image repeats, women at the loom, threads in their hands, weaving life itself. Close your eyes now and see the loom before you. It is vast, stretching beyond sight. Threads cross and intertwine, shimmering like rivers of light. Some threads brush against yours, weaving close, then drifting apart. Some remain beside you, strong and constant, their colors blending with your own. Every thread matters. Every strand belongs. The weavers move silently around the loom. Their hands do not rush. They work with the patience of mountains, with the stillness of stars. The threads are fragile, yet their design is strong. A single life may seem small, but within the weave it holds meaning, it adds depth, it creates harmony. Think of your own thread. It shines softly, steady as a candle flame. It has already passed through moments of light and shadow. It will pass through more, but always it belongs. Always it adds to the great design. The weavers remind us of balance. Life is not endless, and that is why it is sacred. The morning dew glitters because it fades with the sun. The rose is precious because its bloom is brief. The thread is holy because it will one day be cut, and in that truth there is peace. To live is to shine for a time, to touch other threads, to be part of something greater. Now, imagine yourself drifting closer to the loom. The weavers look upon you with quiet eyes. They do not judge. They do not question. They only weave. Your thread is safe in their hands, glowing with gentle light. It winds into the cloth, joining with countless others, forming a pattern more beautiful than you can see. You are not alone. You are part of the tapestry. The loom fades slowly into the mist of dream. The threads glimmer like stars dissolving into dawn. The sound of weaving becomes the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, the thread lengthens. Exhale, it rests in balance. Your life continues, woven gently into the fabric of the world. The weavers remain at their work, steady as ever. Their loom will hum through the night. The tapestry will grow, thread by thread, story by story, and your place within it will always be held. Now, let yourself drift onward as the cloth of dreams wraps softly around you. The loom grows distant, the stars return. The weavers sit in silence, their hands moving with infinite care. You rest, you glow, you belong. The thread of your being continues to shine, steady and kind, within the eternal weave. Let the night carry you deeper. Let the loom fade into stillness. Now rest as the stars return, and the weavers of fate continue their quiet work beyond the edge of dreams. The night is still. A silver moon rests above, her glow spreading gently across the earth. Soft winds brush through the trees, whispering secrets carried from faraway rivers. The world seems quiet, yet beneath the silence there is movement, there is pulse, there is flow. This is the realm of Shakti, the living power. She is not a single figure, not a single face. She is the breath within breath, the warmth within flame, the current beneath the river's skin. She is the life force that carries stars into being, that makes seeds rise, that shapes the heart's quiet beat. Close your eyes and imagine the world before sound, a soft darkness full of hidden promise. In that silence, the spark of Shakti moved. From her energy, all things awakened. The sun was set upon its path. The oceans rose and fell. The mountains stretched their backs toward the heavens. She is creation not as a moment, but as a river that never ceases. In the ancient hymns of India, Shakti is honored as the mother of all forms. She is the goddess of power, yet her power is not like the sword or the throne. It is the power of growth, of renewal, of flowing life. Without her, the world would be still and empty, like a lamp without flame. With her, even silence glows with light. She takes many shapes, each a facet of her endless presence. At times she is Parvati, gentle as a morning breeze, resting upon the mountain slopes. At times she is Durga, strong as a lion's roar, carrying weapons of protection. At times she is Kali, fierce as the storm, breaking what must be broken so new life may bloom. But always, in every form, she is Shakti, the living energy, the river of being. Imagine her now as a river. Her waters shine with moonlight, moving softly, endlessly across the land. Every ripple is her breath. Every drop is her blessing. The river nourishes fields, carries boats, sings through stones. Like Shakti, it cannot be contained. It moves, it gives, it renews. Imagine her as a mountain, silent, steady, lifting skyward. The mountain holds the weight of seasons. Snow crowns its peak, streams fall from its sides. Its stillness is strength, its presence a reminder that power can also be quiet. This too is Shakti, not only motion, but the firm ground beneath the dance of life. Imagine her as fire, a flame glowing in the dark, warm and alive. The fire cooks the food, brightens the night, protects against cold. Yet fire also transforms, turning wood to ash, bringing change where once there was stillness. This too is Shakti, the spark of transformation, the power that reshapes the old into the new. Her presence is everywhere. She's in the laughter of children, in the strength of mothers, in the courage of those who walk through shadow. She is in the song of birds at dawn, in the rustle of leaves at twilight, in the rhythm of tides that kiss the shore. Shakti is not only in temples or scriptures. She is here now, in the smallest breath you take. In the stories of old, it is said that even the gods themselves require Shakti. Shiva, the great stillness, becomes pure potential without her. But when Shakti flows into him, stillness becomes creation, emptiness becomes form. Together they are balance, silence and sound, earth and sky, seed and bloom. Without Shakti, there is no movement. Without Shiva, there is no space to hold it. Together, they dance the universe into being. Picture the cosmic dance. Shiva moves in rhythm, the circle of time spinning around him. And Shakti is the energy in each step, the drumbeat in the heavens, the flame at the center. It is not a dance of chaos. It is a dance of harmony, endless, eternal, weaving worlds as easily as a spider spins her web. To the seeker, Shakti is not far. She is within. She is the spark that makes your heart beat. She is the warmth that spreads when kindness is given. She is the strength that rises when you stand again after falling. You are never apart from her. You are her vessel, her flame, her living thread in the great cloth of existence. Breathe softly and feel her presence. In your inhale, Shakti enters as life. In your exhale, she flows outward as release. The simple act of breathing becomes her song, her rhythm. Each moment is filled with her, like air filled with light. The sages spoke of Shakti not only as creation, but as bliss. She is in the sound of music that lifts the soul, in the beauty of colors that soften the heart, in the stillness that comforts the spirit. Her gift is not only life, but joy. The reminder that existence is not heavy stone alone, but also flowing water, gentle and free. Picture yourself walking through a quiet temple, where lamps glow softly, their flames steady as stars. In the center, a statue of the goddess stands. Not fierce, not distant, but tender, luminous. Garlands of flowers rest at her feet. Incense rises like mist. Her eyes seem to glow with warmth, as though she sees not only your body, but the thread of your being. You bow not in fear but in gratitude, for in her you recognize the life that flows through all. Now the temple fades, and you are in a meadow under starlight. The grass sways gently in the wind. The river sings nearby. Above, the moon glows full and calm, her light touching everything with silver. This too is Shakti. Not distant, not hidden, but all around, holding you in her quiet embrace. Her lesson is simple. Power does not always shout. It often whispers. It is the whisper of seeds breaking the soil. It is the whisper of rivers shaping stone. It is the whisper of love that heals the heart. This is the living power, soft yet unstoppable, gentle yet infinite. And so, as you drift towards sleep, let Shakti's presence cradle you. Feel her as the river beneath your dreams, carrying you to safe and quiet shores. Feel her as the mountain behind your back, steady and unmoving. Feel her as the fire within your chest, warm and alive, glowing softly through the night. You are not separate from her. You are her flame, her current, her breath. Your life is her gift, your being her expression. Every step you take is a note in her song, every dream a thread in her endless weave. Now let the night deepen. Let the stars brighten overhead. Let Shakti's energy hold you as you rest. Her power does not fade with darkness. It shines within it, calm and eternal. Drift onward now as rivers flow, as flames flicker, as mountains stand. Rest as the stars return, wrapped in the living power of Shakti, the eternal mother, the endless light. The night drapes itself softly over the land. Stars glimmer like scattered jewels, steady and calm in the dark sky. A pale moon hangs above, her silver light washing over ancient fields where rivers once carved their song. The air is still, touched only by the faint rustle of reeds along the water's edge. You rest within this dream of Sumer, the cradle of early time, where stories were carried in clay and sung in firelight. Here, the people raised their eyes to the heavens and whispered prayers to a radiant figure. She was Inanna. She was Ishtar. She was the queen of heaven. Her names shifted with tongue and time, but her presence was always the same. Bright, mysterious, and eternal. Close your eyes and imagine the temple rising in the heart of the city. Tall walls of clay baked by the sun, steps leading upward, higher and higher toward the stars. At the top, offerings rest. Bowls of grain, jars of honey, woven flowers, gifts to the goddess who blessed both earth and sky. In the flicker of oil lamps her image shone, carved in stone or painted in color, crowned with horns of power, draped in the robes of eternity. The Queen of Heaven was not distant. She was near, moving through the lives of her people. They felt her in the swelling of seeds beneath the soil. They saw her in the birth of lambs in the spring. They honored her in the shimmer of the morning star, glowing above the horizon at dawn. Inanna was the pulse of fertility, the rhythm of life renewed. Yet she was not only gentle, She was also strength, also fire. Her power reached beyond fields and homes, into battle and kingship. Her blessing could crown rulers, and her absence could unseat them. Like the moon, she could be both light and shadow, both tender and fierce. In her, all the mysteries of womanhood, of creation, of life itself, were gathered and guarded. Imagine now the hymns sung to her in soft twilight. Priests and priestesses, clothed in flowing garments, lifted their voices. Their songs rose with the smoke of incense, curling upward to meet the stars. They called her Lady of Love, Lady of War, Lady of the Morning and Evening Star. Her domains were vast, her presence unending. To the people, she was not only a goddess, but the very breath of the world. One story tells of her descent, her journey into the underworld. Inanna, the Queen of Heaven, chose to walk the path of shadow. Step by step through 7 gates she descended. At each gate, she laid down a piece of her power, her crown, her jewels, her robes, until she stood bare before the Queen of the Dead. It was a journey of surrender, of humility, of truth, and though she was struck down, the world above mourned, for when Inanna was gone, nothing grew. The fields withered, the wombs were empty. Life itself seemed to pause, yet from death she returned. With the help of those who loved her, with the strength of her own will, she rose again. And as she ascended, the earth bloomed once more. Grain bent heavy in the fields. Children's cries filled the air. The cycle of life turned onward. Her descent and return became the story of renewal, the reminder that life falls and rises, sleeps and wakes, dies and lives again. The people of Sumer looked to her not only as a goddess, but as a mirror of the stars. For she was Venus, the bright morning star, shimmering before sunrise. She was also the evening star, glowing softly after sunset. They watched her journey across the sky, her light fading and returning, and they felt her presence in that rhythm. She was both constant and changing, both familiar and mysterious, like the beating of the human heart. Picture now the fields under her blessing, golden barley swaying in the breeze, shepherds guiding their flocks beneath the calm expanse of sky, mothers humming lullabies as they cradle their children. Each act of life, each thread of survival was woven with her light. She was the Queen of Heaven, yet she walked gently in the dust of earth. At night, the people gazed upward and saw her stars. They believed that her throne was set among them, her crown shimmering with constellations. The Milky Way was her veil, stretched across the heavens. The moon was her lantern. The wind was her breath. All of creation carried her imprint. Inanna, the Queen of Heaven, was also the keeper of mysteries. The mysteries of love, of passion, of longing. The mysteries of life's cycles, the planting and harvest, the birth and the death, the descent and the return. She reminded her people that to live was to move through these rhythms, to surrender and to rise, to fall into shadow, and to bloom once more into light. As you drift deeper into rest, imagine her presence around you. She is the star above, guiding your way through the night. She is the soft earth beneath, holding you steady. She is the river flowing nearby, whispering its endless song. She is the moon's glow upon your skin, silver and tender. You are safe in her realm. You are carried in her arms, like a child resting in the lap of the eternal mother. The Queen of Heaven still shines. Though the temples have fallen to dust, though empires have crumbled into silence, her light remains. Each dawn, the morning star rises, and she rises with it. Each dusk, the evening star glows, and she glows with it. Inanna, Ishtar, the Queen of Heaven, her presence cannot be erased. She's older than stone, older than kings, older than the songs carved into clay. She is eternal, for she is life itself. And so the night deepens. The rivers of Sumer murmur their low, endless hymns. The stars lean close, gentle as lanterns in the sky. The Queen of Heaven rests above, her light falling like a blessing upon your dreams. Let her embrace cradle you. Let her star guide you. Let her mystery carry you softly into sleep. Drift onward now through quiet fields, through silver skies. Rest as the stars return under the watch of the Queen of Heaven, eternal and serene. The night is quiet, as if the earth itself listens. Above, the stars spread their calm light across the sky, steady and eternal. A gentle breeze stirs, carrying with it the memory of desert sands, of temples lit by oil lamps, of ancient prayers spoken under the weight of silence. You drift now into Egypt, the land of stone and river, where the Nile winds its way like a ribbon of life, and where the people look to the heavens for balance, for order, for truth. In that land, there was a goddess who was not only a being, but a principle. She was Maat, the feather of truth, the keeper of balance, the breath of harmony that held the world together. To speak her name was to speak of the laws of the universe, both seen and unseen. Imagine her now. She wears a single feather upon her head, long and light, glowing like moonlight against her dark hair. Her eyes are calm, her face serene, her presence both gentle and unshakable. She is not fierce, not loud. She is steady, like the river's flow, like the stars that return each night. Maat is the stillness that guides all things back into order. The people of Egypt built their lives upon her. They believed that without Maat, the sun would not rise, the river would not flood, the world itself would fall into chaos. And so, kings were crowned as her servants, sworn to protect her laws. Priests spoke her name with reverence, and scribes painted her feather upon the walls of tombs. For to live in truth, to live in balance, was to live within her embrace. In the great hall of judgment, beyond the veil of death, Maat waited. When a soul had crossed the threshold, it was brought before Osiris, the lord of the afterlife. There, before the gathered gods, the heart of the soul was placed upon the scale. On the other side rested Maat's feather, the heart filled with deeds, with memories, with the weight of a lifetime. The feather, filled with truth, pure and without burden. If the heart was light, if it was honest, if it carried no heaviness of lies or cruelty, it would balance with the feather. Then the soul would walk onward into the fields of reeds, the eternal paradise where rivers shimmered and the harvest never failed. But if the heart was heavy, weighed down by falsehood or by harm, the scale would tilt. And waiting in the shadows was Amit the devourer, who swallowed the unworthy heart, leaving no trace behind. For only truth could walk eternally. Only balance could pass beyond. Picture the hall itself. Columns rise like forests of stone carved with sacred shapes. Golden light flickers from braziers, reflecting off polished walls. Silence stretches, yet it is not frightening. It is a silence of awe, of waiting. In this stillness, Maat's feather rests, soft and shining, carrying within it the measure of eternity. The Egyptians saw Maat not only in death, but in every breath of life. Farmers living along the Nile followed her rhythm, planting when the waters receded, harvesting when the fields grew golden. Scribes dipping their reeds into ink wrote carefully, knowing that truth in words was an offering to her. Mothers taught their children to be honest, to be kind, to walk in balance, reminding them that Maat was always watching, not as a judge, but as a gentle guide. Her presence stretched beyond human lives. The path of the sun across the sky was her work. The rising and falling of the moon, her breath. The flight of birds, the drifting of stars, the turning of seasons, all were bound by Maat. She was the harmony of the universe, the invisible string tying all things together, the quiet rhythm that made life possible. There is a story of the pharaohs. Each morning at sunrise, the ruler would present Maat to the gods, not as a statue of stone, but as an offering, a promise. By ruling with justice, by keeping truth alive, the pharaoh gave Maat back to creation. And in return, the gods allowed the sun to rise again, allowed the river to flow, allowed the land to remain fertile. The gift of Maat was a cycle, endless as time. Now imagine her feather floating before you. It is soft, yet it does not waver. It carries no weight, yet it holds the measure of all things. It is a symbol, a reminder that the soul, like the feather, must be light, must be free of burden, must move with honesty and with care. The feather does not demand, it simply is, gentle and eternal, waiting to reflect the truth of all hearts. To the Egyptians, life was not separate from the afterlife. It was a long journey of preparation, of shaping the heart so that it might one day rest beside the feather. They spoke words of kindness. They honored the river. They walked in balance with one another so that their hearts would remain light. In this, Maat was not only a goddess, she was the path itself, the way of living, the way of being. Drift deeper now and picture the fields of reeds, the paradise promised to those who walked with Maat. The fields are endless, golden and green, swaying gently beneath a soft breeze. Clear water winds through them, reflecting the sky. Birds rise and fall like quiet prayers. There is no hunger, no pain. There is only peace, eternal and calm. This is the reward of truth, the gift of balance, the embrace of Maat. As you rest, let the image of her feather remain with you. Let it remind you of stillness. Let it remind you of lightness. Let it remind you of the simple beauty of harmony. For Maat is not far away. She is in every breath that is honest, in every step that is kind, in every word that carries truth. She is in the balance of your heart, guiding it to rest. And so the night deepens. The stars above shimmer with steady calm, like countless feathers spread across the heavens. The desert air is cool, carrying with it the ancient silence of temples long gone. Yet Mead remains, unbroken by time, eternal as the order of the cosmos. Her feather still glows, soft and pure, waiting for every heart. Rest now, under her watch. Rest, as your own breath becomes light as a feather. Rest as the balance of truth surrounds you. Drift onward into calm fields, into golden silence, into the embrace of Maat, the feather of truth. Now rest as the stars return. Night settles like a silken veil, soft and unbroken. The stars shine above, as though each one is a candle lit in the vast temple of the sky. The air is gentle, steady, almost listening, and in this quiet space the story unfolds. It is a story of voices that were never lost, of women who spoke not for themselves, but for time itself. They were called the Sibyls. The Sibyls lived in the thresholds between worlds, some by caves, where stone walls held secrets like memory, some by waters, where ripples carried messages unseen, others on mountaintops, where winds were thin and closer to heaven. Each one carried the gift of vision, though gift may not be the right word. It was more like a river that flowed through them. They could not hold it. They could only let it pass, word by word, breath by breath. Imagine now the hush of a cave deep in the hillside. The walls are damp with old water. The floor is cool, covered in dust that never sees the sun. A torch flickers, and its glow bends across the stone. There in the silence, a Sibyl breathes. Her breath is slow, steady. Her eyes are half closed, but her mind opens wide. The world of now fades, and another world whispers through. She speaks not in her own voice. She speaks as if the earth itself were speaking. The wind outside is her breath. The flame upon the torch is her tongue. Her words are like echoes, soft and strange. To those who hear, it is as though time itself leans close. The people who come to her wait with reverence. They do not look at her as a woman of flesh and bone. They see her as a doorway. They see her as a reed through which the breath of eternity plays. And so they listen. They listen even when the meaning is unclear. They listen even when the words are heavy with mystery. For in the silence of listening, truth reveals itself like dawn. The Sibyls spoke of things far away. They spoke of wars before they began. They spoke of kings yet unborn. They spoke of cities that would rise, only to fall like sandcastles at the tide. And yet beyond all these visions there was something softer. For hidden within their voices was not just warning, but comfort. A reminder that time moves as the river does, that even stones are shaped by water, that no sorrow lasts forever, and no joy is lost. The Sibyls did not belong to one land alone. Their voices were scattered across the ancient world like seeds on the wind. In Greece their whispers came from Delphi, from Cumae, from sacred shrines where incense curled into the sky. In Rome their prophecies were guarded in scrolls, kept safe in temples, turned to in moments of great need. Others spoke from Asia, from Libya, from places where the sands met the stars. Each voice was different, yet all carried the same current. It was the voice of the eternal, woven through the human heart. Think now of the Sibyl of Cumae. She lived in a cavern with 100 doors, 100 passages. When she spoke, her words rushed out like winds, filling every corridor. The people came to her with fear and hope alike. They asked what would become of their journeys, their children, their homes, and she, with eyes that saw beyond sight, would answer. Her words were written, but even as ink dried, the meaning shifted like waves. For truth is not fixed. It bends, it flows, it reveals itself in its own time. The Sibyl of Delphi, too, breathed her visions in vapors. She sat upon a tripod above a cleft in the earth. From below rose sweet smoke, a breath of the unseen world. As it entered her, her body swayed, her voice quivered, and the words came. Those who listened heard not sentences but fragments like pieces of a dream. Yet in those fragments lay guidance, sharp as starlight, soft as dew. To hear a Sibyl was not to know certainty. It was to enter the mystery. It was to walk into a forest at night with only moonlight to guide the path. The way ahead was never clear, but the presence of the light was enough. And so it was with their words. Not commands but companions, not maps but lanterns. The Sibyls were not queens, nor priests, nor rulers. They were keepers of breath, guardians of vision. They held no throne, yet even kings bowed before their whispers. For power fades, but truth woven into the fabric of the universe, remains. Imagine the listener centuries ago sitting at the edge of a cave. The night is wide and full of stars. The fire crackles low. A sibyl begins to hum, her voice a river flowing downward from a mountain unseen. The listener closes their eyes. The words fall upon them not as orders but as rain. Each drop soaks into the soul. Each drop nourishes a seed of wisdom. The sibyls remind us of silence, of the space between words. For even as their voices filled the air, it was the silence afterward that mattered most. The silence where meaning settled. The silence where the heart understood. Their visions have faded with time. Scrolls burned, temples crumbled, names were forgotten. Yet the whisper remains. It is in the wind that brushes through trees at dusk. It is in the waves that break against lonely shores. It is in the dreams that come just before sleep. The sibyls still speak, though not with lips, not with sound. They speak in the way eternity always has. Through mystery, through quiet, through the soft pull of wonder. And now as you drift here in the hush of night, their presence lingers, like faint footsteps on an ancient path, like soft light filtering through stone. They walk beside you, not to guide with force, but to remind you that all things move in time, that your heart too is a vessel of truth, that silence itself is a prophecy of peace. Let the sibyls whisper now, not in fear, not in warning, but in calm assurance. The stars will rise. The dawn will come. The river of life will carry you gently, as it always has. Breathe with the memory of those voices, echoing across centuries. Feel their presence, tender as the night air upon your skin. They are not gone. They are part of the great song of being, the music that cradles every soul. And so, let us drift onward into deeper silence. Let the whispers fade into rest as the stars return to their watch. Now sleep, carried by the eternal hush, the quiet prophecy of peace. Night stretches like a quiet river. The sky is wide, the stars unbroken. The world is hushed, as though listening, and into the stillness a light begins to glow. It is not harsh, it does not blind. It is soft, steady, almost like a candle cupped in gentle hands. This is the light of the eternal feminine, the light that has never left humanity. From the earliest dawn of memory, people looked for this light. They saw it in the curve of the moon, thin and silver above the earth. They felt it in the rhythm of tides, rising and falling like a mother's breath. They sensed it in the fertility of soil, where seeds lay hidden, waiting to blossom. This light was not bound to one face, nor one name. It was present in many forms across many lands. Some called it goddess. Some called it spirit. Some simply felt it as the quiet strength that moves life onward. It is the light of creation, the power that brings forth. But it is also the light of care, the power that holds close. It is not loud. It does not conquer. It guides with patience, like the steady pull of the stars across the sky. Picture now a temple in twilight. Its stones are warmed by the memory of the sun. Lanterns hang from beams, their flames swaying like drowsy hearts. In the center, a statue stands. The figure carved there is not fierce, but serene. She is robed in flowing lines, her eyes cast downward as though listening to the earth itself. At her feet, small offerings rest, flowers, bread, simple tokens of love. For those who came here long ago, she was not far away. She was the nearness of comfort, the presence of light in the ordinary day. The eternal feminine light has many names. In Mesopotamia, she was Inanna, queen of heaven, who rose with the morning star. In Egypt, she was Isis, who gathered the pieces of love and wove them whole again. In Greece, she was Demeter, keeper of harvest, whose sorrow and joy turned the seasons. In every place her form shifted, but the essence remained, a soft radiance, a guidance that did not fade. This light is more than myth. It is in the quiet acts of care that shape every life. It is in the mother who sings a child to sleep. It is in the friend who offers comfort in silence. It is in the healer's touch, the teacher's patience, the stranger's kindness. These are the small flames of the eternal fire. They may seem ordinary, yet they hold the universe together. Imagine yourself now walking through a field at night. The grass is cool against your feet. Above, the moon spreads silver across the earth. There is no fear here. The night is alive, yet gentle. You sense a presence not seen but felt. It is the same presence that guided the ancients. It is the same presence that guides you now. It is the eternal feminine light. walking beside you step by step. This light does not promise answers. It promises companionship. It reminds you that you are not alone, that even in sorrow there is a hand that steadies, that even in silence there is a heart that listens, that even in darkness there is a glow, small but sure. The stories tell of goddesses who crossed the underworld to bring back life. They tell of women who bore wisdom, whose voices carried prophecy. They tell of queens who ruled not with swords, but with presence. These stories are old, yet they are not gone. They live in the breath of night. They live in the rhythms of your own being. Every heartbeat echoes them. Every dream remembers them. Now the light grows softer still. It is like a flame sinking low, not dying, but deepening. It rests in you, warm at the center of your chest. It hums with patience, with care, with timeless calm. This is the gift of the eternal feminine light, not to shine far away, but to dwell close within. Rest here. Breathe slowly. Feel the weight of the day soften, like sand sliding back into the sea. The eternal feminine watches, not with eyes, but with presence. Her guidance is not a command. It is a lullaby, carried on the quiet winds of night. Think of all who came before you. They too rested in this light. They too felt its warmth when the world seemed heavy. It carried them, as it now carries you. From cradle to grave, from sorrow to joy, from silence to song. Always this light remained. Let the temple fade now. Let the field drift away. Only the glow remains gentle and close. It is a lantern for your dreams. It will keep burning while you sleep. It will keep walking with you even in the deepest night. The eternal feminine light has no end. It shines in the stars. It whispers in the rivers. It rests in the soil. And it lives in you steady as breath, timeless as the sky. So drift onward now. Let your spirit be cradled. Let the light carry you soft as moonlight on water. The eternal feminine is here. She is the dream. She is the silence. She is the peace that will hold you until dawn. Now rest as the stars return to their watch. Now sleep in the glow of the eternal feminine light.